Hi, Mariana.
Hello. I would say good morning, but I have 1 minute.
How are you?
I'm good. I just want to let you know that I am not Woo, and so that's why I'm here, because I have to understand. I have Woo people, so I mean I do have Woo, but just not my top.
Oh, it was a dig deep for me too, because I don't have Woo anywhere in close to the top or middle. So hopefully I got it right.
I'm sure if you have Woo people, they'll let you know.
Yes, I'm sure they will.
So
I'm a Woo and I'm here.
yay! Thank you to the Wooers.
Hi, Yusra.
Hey.
My daughter, one of my youngest daughters, Woo, so I got her, and she's also empathy. Well, but that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
An empathetic Woo. She's gonna easily win people over.
Oh yeah, she's very, very sincere. Like real, like you. I'm like, how do you?
Yeah.
Sincere? Because Mom, I am. I said, oh, okay. Because something like, So yeah, that's the one thing I've noticed, that people that are, they're really glad to see people. Like they mean it. They're like, oh, good to see you. Oh yeah, good to know. They're like, it is so great.
Yeah.
Like, wow. You really like to see me, so which is pretty impressive.
Uh-huh. Is there anybody else that's joined that wants to say hi? How are you today, Yusra?
I'm good.
Good.
Hello, Brandy. Good Monday morning.
Hello. How are you, Moni?
Excited to be here. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for coming. I hope you are feeling well today.
Yes. We'll catch up after the call.
Sounds good. I'm just going to give it a couple more minutes for people to join. Mariana, is Steve joining today?
He said he was. He might be on a call.
Yeah, no worries.
Do you want me to post it on my wall going forward, so that way you'll have more people joining, maybe?
You certainly can. Yeah.
Let me do it now.
That'd be great. Okay.
Hello, everyone. This is Ernie. Glad to be here.
Hi, Ernie. Thanks for joining, sir.
You bet. I'm traveling, so I'm going to be muted.
Where are you traveling?
Right now, I'm traveling to Walmart. I've already driven up to North Richland Hills this morning, turned around, and already made it back home. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Such an early riser. On Monday mornings or any other morning, you're like the first post that I see because you were up at 6 a.m. posting.
This morning I was up at 3 a.m. posting.
That's awful.
I drove 3 hours and was in North Richland Hills at 6 a.m. So.
Gosh.
Okay, I'm going to mute. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for doing this.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with the few people that are here. I'm sure we'll have more people join just like we did last week. I know that we have a couple Woos on the phone. Money's got Woo, Yusra's got you. Both myself, Mariana and Ernie, we don't have Woo at all. We're all like, okay, you guys are going to have to tell us what Woos are like. So I'll give it my best shot, but feel free to intervene and inform us so that we are highly educated by the end of this call. So if you don't know, Woo stands for winning others over, or to woo, like a verb. And it's only found in people's top 5 strength capacity 12% of the time. So if you wooers are ever kind of like, gosh, why isn't everybody else around me excited about meeting all these new people and so very excited and super positive, it's just because we don't have it. We don't have it anywhere near our top 5. So we don't feel the same way that you guys do. There are 4 categories that the strengths fall into. I think, as most of you know, there's the strategic thinking category, the executing category, and the relationship building. Woo is definitely in the influencing category. These are your salespeople, they're your marketing people, they're your team of people who want to go out there and be among people and talk to people all day long and influence them. Okay. We also throw these strengths into a work zone, and you can see that Woo actually falls into the innovation zone. And this is the zone that develops and matures ideas into realistic solutions, which seems a bit odd for a Woo. You're going, well, how does that work, Brandy? Well, it's the way the mind works. So if you have a situation in a crowd where, someone's trying to win you over, they're going to be pretty persistent about that. I mean, if their whole goal is to win you over, then they're going to keep thinking of new ways and new ideas to win you over. So the part of their brain that generates innovation and coming up with, another way and then another way and then another way is turned on. I'm going to check the chat really quick just because I saw. It's number 7 for Steve. Oh, it's high for you, Steve. That surprises me. No wonder your daughter has Woo. Okay. So here are the characteristics of Woo. You guys are going to get a whole vocabulary around Woo today because we're going to talk nothing but about Woo, and you're going to hear a lot of repetition. So, they love to be challenged by meeting new people and getting them to like them. They're drawn to and energized by strangers. They love breaking the ice and, specifically in social situations that have lots of people. They love making the new connections. Starting an engaging conversation is something they think about a lot, how to do that successfully. And they build rapport very easily. And it doesn't matter if it's people they know or people they don't know, but typically they're better with people they don't know because they're just more engaged and interested in winning this person over to their side. They are great when they're joining organizations and committees. They are good at setting tones at events. So they should be the first one to show up and start welcoming people in the room and, making sure that everybody's had a touch point with the facilitator. They are great at outreaching, and saying, okay, well, like Money you did this morning, you were like, oh, let me send this out to my network. Let me bring, strangers or other people that don't know about this into this session this morning. You guys just have a real knack for that. And, you guys, your sort of motto is, there are no strangers. There's only friends that we haven't met yet. So lots of them. You guys are social, you're friendly, you have presence, you're charming, you're engaging, you love to perform, you love to network. And really the best spot for you is roles that you can interact with people all day long. Any questions? Yeah.
I think the once connection made wraps up, move on, don't take it personal. This is a hard one because this kind of talks to me about, with everything going on. Yeah. Right. I connected with you. I'm authentic. You know who I am now. Good to meet you. We'll connect back again. And I want to meet the next person, right? Yes. And this probably gets me into hot water sometimes.
Yes. And it says here at the bottom, if you partner with relators and you partner with empaths, they'll help you understand how to solidify relationships and continue them along, over the course of a long period of time so that, you might have a huge broad network, but if you want some of those connections to be a bit deeper, then you do have to get some advice or partner with people to think about how they might continue the relationship so that you can implement some of those things and maintain relationships over the course of time. But the way that woos do that is typically having fun, right? Like if you're so fun and you're so great to be around, then of course, the next time you come back around, I'm going to want to, see you again and interact with you again. And, when I go to the party, I know you're going to have a smile waiting for me and you're going to interact with me. So as a relator myself, woos help me ease that social situation, because I can go into the social situation knowing that I can handle it, but I kind of dread it too. I'm kind of like, okay, this is going to be work for me tonight. I'm going to have to like turn it on. Where a woo, if I know a woo's going to be there, I can go over to Yusra and be like, hey, can I just sit next to you for a minute? That you're the life of the party and everybody loves you. So at least I'll feel like I'm a part of. And she has a real ability to help me feel like, a part of the social scene for the evening. So, woo is intensified when it's paired with communication. Woos are already chatty, right? You guys love to talk. You never run out of something to say or words. So if you have woo and communication in your top 5, then you're super chatty, because communicators love to talk. They love to speak. They love to capture the floor. They love to hand out a very clear message, the who, what, where, when, why, how. It's very, very clear communication. So of course, with the two of them together, it's extremely intense. And when you add includer to woo, you can imagine woo is already, has this outreaching hand that pulls people in that they don't know yet, that they want to join. And the includer is inclusive. They don't want anyone to feel left out. So an includer is focused on people that are, coming into a situation that might feel left out. They want to make sure they feel included, where a woo just loves to network and has a broad network. So with the two of those together, it's extremely, pulling people in all the time, making sure people aren't left out. So it just becomes a very intense woo and a very intense includer with the two together. And then woos are extremely positive people. They're extremely excitable. They are charming. They are fun. And so when you add positivity to woo in a person's top 5 strengths, it makes them even more excitable and happy and positive and optimistic. Any thoughts about the intensifications, the pairings?
I have woo as my number 3 and positivity as my number 4.
Yeah.
And I have people ask me, what are you on? All the time.
Yeah. It's like, what cereal did you eat this morning? I want some of that.
Yeah.
So Brad, you have both too, right? Yeah. Woo number 1, communication number 2. That's right.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute there. For that reason, I know I'll start piping up at some point, so I need to put myself on mute so I will shut up during your presentation.
Yeah, so this is really high for you. You absolutely love social networks. You love talking.
I have a brewery next to me, like down the street, that's like my local Cheers, because it's kind of the area, and I literally just walk in there by myself.
Yeah.
Like on a Friday, and I just talk to people in there, and then now I know half the people that come in now.
And you like make connections with everybody. And do you feel like you're going to have to find a new brewery once you saturate this one?
Maybe. Luckily, there's enough new people walking in that I can make new connections. No, I will tell you, oddly, it can be an issue on social media at times, because you have such a broad variety of friends that if there's any kind of post that someone comments on, I will come back and there will be like 37 messages that I had nothing to do with, and there's like 2 different people arguing with each other in the comment section because they come from 2 totally different places.
Sure.
And I have to jump in and be like, ho ho ho, everyone's cool, it's fine, sorry, we're doing well here.
Yeah,
so
this is supposed to be
such
fun.
a broad base of people, they'll sometimes you forget there can be some conflict without you even realizing.
Yeah, that's a great point. I'd never thought about that.
It wears you out sometimes.
Well, and so you can see this is a very common combination. This woo and communication together is 55% of the time. They actually had these together at one point, if I remember correctly. And then over time they learned, okay, well, most of the time those 2 characteristics are together, but sometimes you can be a woo without being a communicator, or you can be a communicator without being a woo. So they had to split them up into two different strengths. And then you can see that the one that woo is least often paired up with is going to be deliberative. Deliberative is that, let me be very cautious. Let me wait and see. I'm private. I don't want anybody to know anything unless I trust them. And I'm going to be very deliberate in my actions, very deliberate of my praise. So they're more reserved. And so woo and deliberative are hardly ever paired together in a person's top 5 strengths. And if they are paired together, they're going to check each other, right? You're going to be social and out and about when you need to be, but you're also going to be very aware of taking, precautionaries and what the risk could be, and just really in tune to that side of things as well. Let's see if we have more questions in the chat. Just want to see what you guys are chatting about. Ernie is woo's 31, communication 34. He's antisocial. You're social in a one-on-one setting. You just might not be like a partier. And then Mariana has her daughter as communication number 1 and woo is number 5. Yes, it's very, very intense, expressive, and enjoyable to watch her talk. And that's a great point, Mariana, is like we enjoy listening to our woos and our communication. They're entertaining, right? We gravitate towards just watching them and listening to them. And again, they take they make us at ease when they can take over the social floor. You will also see that if a relator and woo is paired together, it looks a bit like includer. So this is just an interesting combination that concerns woo. It only happens 3% of the time, but when it does happen, it's like, okay, relators enjoy one-on-one interactions, but when they're also a woo, then they tend to invite, lots of people into their inner circle, which is kind of what includers do. Includers are inclusive into their inner circle and making sure no one's, left out. Okay, so this is woo igniters, okay? Woos don't discriminate. They want to win you all over. However, woos do typically struggle a bit with that deliberative personality because, they might put the deliberators at ease, but, a woo's not going to win over a deliberative person easily. It's just harder. They're more private. And, woos might be like, look, I'm trying to win you over, but you're exhausting me because I can't get that job done. And then they also might struggle with relators because relators are like, look, I'm a one-on-one person. I don't want to do the party thing with you. I love spending time with you one-on-one, but the woo is kind of like, I don't want to spend time one-on-one. I want to be among people and I want to have multiple people at my dinner party and I want to, be extremely social. And also relators might go look at a woo and go, I'm not sure if you're authentic. I'm used to these deep, passionate relationships that are really close with people. And you're kind of like winning everybody over, but I don't know if I can get close to you. And, the woo is like, well, I don't really want to be close to you. I just want to win you over and think, go on to the next person. So there could potentially be, either just some conflict or dislike or just, just not lack of interest in the other one. Did you raise your hand, Brad? Did you have something to add here? Oh, we can't hear you, sir. Can you switch up your microphone?
Oh, you can't hear me?
Not very well. We did the first time. Something changed?
That's like a woo's worst nightmare.
Okay, well, go ahead. We'll just listen closely.
Okay, I'll put up my actual microphone here in a minute. But you were talking about deliberative people. As a woo person at 1 and deliberatives in my top 15, that constantly battles each other. So it's like I want everyone to be there to talk to, but I also don't want them all talking at once. So I want to be able to move off and have a small conversation that's got some oomph to it, because I really don't like being in the situation. As much as I like to talk, I really don't like being in situations where there's like 10 to 20 people all talking over each other, because then I feel like nobody's actually listening to each other and you're not moving the relationship along. So
yeah, and I also think that you are you're actually pointing out a communication characteristic, because communicators want to be listened to. They don't necessarily need a back and forth. They just want to be listened to, right? They want to talk and they want to deliver the message, and they want the audience to be listening to them, and they want everybody to be clapping and wooing them. And so you might just be hitting on a communication characteristic as well with that.
It sounds like you just described a complete diva as well, so that might be.
But there's a place for divas on stage.
Exactly. I want to talk. All of you need to listen. Everyone shut up. I'm talking.
And of course you want to hear people's opinions sometimes, and you want to have back and forth conversation as well, but it's just more likely that you're going to be more engaged and more successful and more interested in a situation where you're the spotlight and you get to do all the talking and the wooing, and people come for that and they come to you for that.
But I can relate to the speaker, Brandy. Sometimes when even though we like people, I think I have input as one of my strengths. So I want to hear everything and I want to really make that connection. So I get frustrated when there is a lot of crosstalk, or if people are talking over each other, or there's side conversations going on. It's just, so I mean, it made sense when he was talking. And I have even have communication in my top 10. So positivity, communication, connectedness, woo.
Okay.
Yeah. so it's an input.
Yes. And communication, positivity, and woo, they're all found together very frequently. I'm sorry if my screen moves back and forth. If you're looking at my face here and there, my cat is laying behind my laptop and he likes to roll around back there and move my screen sometimes. So obviously woos are going to love other communicators. They're just going to feed off of each other. They're both extroverted, they're both social, and it makes for a lively, entertaining evening. And then woos also love positive people. They're positive themselves. They usually have positivity close by, and so having other positivity around them is really enjoyable for them. These are their people, in other words. Okay, so what could really get to a woo? A woo is not at their best if they don't get to meet a lot of new people. They're not at their best when they don't get to be social and make connections. They're not at their best if they're not winning you over. They really hate not being liked in a situation where that's happening. They're upset when they don't get to talk to a bunch of other people frequently. If they miss an opportunity to build rapport, they feel like that's a huge miss for them. If there's no events to go to or organizations or committees to join, that's a real loss for them. They hated quarantine. I mean, quarantine was like, you got to be kidding me. I feed off of being out there and being out and about and being among the people and making new friends. And this quarantine thing is for the birds. If they're not getting to network or getting to be a part of masses or crowds in some way, if they don't get to perform or charm others, all of these things are things that are like, wow, I don't feel like me, and I'm depressed and I don't get to be at my best. These are the things I need to be at my best every day. Any thoughts on that, guys?
I agree with that 100%. I actually use my PTO to go attend conferences for fun, and my husband finds that weird. And I love going to conferences to meet new people, to learn about new things, and just be myself.
Yeah.
And there were no conferences during COVID, and I was just like, meh.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yusra has learner as well, guys. So she just, loves to learn new things as well as get to know new people.
Yeah.
For me, because I have achiever and restorative, when I'm not liked, I have serious problems.
Yes, and you're like out there to achieve and to restore and to make sure that woo is gonna happen no matter what.
It's good.
All that resonates with me as well.
Does it, Steve?
Yeah, but I was surprisingly though, because I have restorative and input, I was okay with the quarantine, but I was doing a lot of learning or a lot of engaging. I was engaging with people.
Yeah.
But I wasn't too. But yeah.
Too social.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think
So
to overcome not being liked. I think all the woos will agree. Any tips for not being liked, overcoming that would be greatly help, Brandy.
Well, we've got to just come to reality. Not everyone is going to like everybody. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you can work at it and you're going to be so much better at it than everybody else, right? 99.9% of people are going to love you guys. but there's still going to be people out there that you just, you'd spin your wheels trying to get them to like you and trying to be a part of your circle. And, it's not worth your energy and time. You're looking at maximizing the woo, and to maximize the woo, that means settle for 99%. Don't waste your time trying to go after that extra 1%. It's just a bad business model,
I do have a question. Do woo people need a break? Like my daughter, I find herself sometimes she's done. She has to go to her room. She likes to be alone. Or is that just a totally different, maybe?
What were her other strengths, Mariana?
She's communication, empathy, activator, maximizer, woo.
So her empathy is the one that is telling her she needs a break.
Okay.
Because she's feeling everything everybody's feeling. And if she's in a highly negative situation, she done. She got to go take a break. She's got to, just be with her close friends, be with the people she loves, be with her animals, so that she can recover from, lots of negativity.
Okay, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I know you, Sora, you do the same thing. You got to go be an intellect at sometimes. You just got to get away from everybody and go think about things and read about things.
Mm-hmm. I was going to add a comment to what I think Manny said. I think that having a strength as a woo can sometimes be also a weakness, especially as you mentioned that you have achiever in yours, because you want people to like you, and that 1 to 5% that might not like you, that can kind of give us like, why not? What did I do wrong? There's a little bit of a self-blame that comes into that.
Yeah.
And I have had that happen to me several times because I'm constantly trying to put myself in positions where I want to learn to get to know people and, see their response. But I always look at it as like, if they don't like me for some reason, that's okay. They're still wooed by me. They're still wooed by me.
That's
Let me tell you that. But that's because they don't like me. There could be another reasoning for it. So I try not to put it on myself. Like they recognize me, they know me, they understand what I am, but it's not really necessarily up to me to make that decision for them to like me or not.
I love that perspective. They're still wooed by me. They're still in awe. They just don't necessarily want to hang out with me all the time.
That's how I perceive it.
Yeah. I've also gotten this insight about how not to overwhelm in initial reactions, right? Because it's a natural tendency to be positive and happy and I'm your new best friend kind of. But when you're trying deliberately not to overwhelm and be somebody you're not, it's just a struggle, I'm going to tell you. And then people who know you already, they're like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Are you feeling okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it is a learning.
And I think what you guys are saying is so important right now, because anytime any of us have to stifle or suffocate our strengths, it's so hard. We talked about achiever last week, which was my top one. And when I have to stifle my achiever, or I have to suffocate, or I have to pull it back, it's so hard. So you guys are starting to understand, based on your own strengths, how other people struggle if you're not letting them be themselves, if you're not opening the doors to let them be who they are and be at their best every day. So because we're a very chatty group, I'm going to slam through a couple slides real quick, and then we'll take a break and you guys can talk again. So woos are at their best, obviously, when people love them, when they're socializing at parties, events, and gatherings, when they're meeting new people, when they're getting people to like them, when they're wooing them. When they're initiating strangers, breaking the ice, making the connections, engaging conversations, building rapport, joining those organization committees, setting the positive tone for an event, opening the door for an exchange of ideas. That's super fun, especially like for you, sir, who has ideation, bringing talented people together, networking, mingling, charming, performing, interacting with people all day. The feedback that they dread are things like, you come off as flighty or fake. They're not. They just have like Mariana said, they have a genuine love for people. You seem shallow. You're not well liked by others. I don't want to hang out with you. You're obnoxious or overbearing or overwhelming, like you guys have been saying. you know, I know you guys hear this, you don't seem to care about people or relationships. That's a hard one, because you very much do. It's just, you know, it's not necessarily the way other people's do it, because again, remember, Woo is only 12% of the population. You know, you care too much about what others think, which Yusra just gave us a great thing too. It's not really about what other people think about you as a person, but rather, you know, you can woo them over and influence them without them having to, you know, embody your full 100%ness and want to be close to you. It's two separate things. You know, why do you always need people to like you? Why do you always have to meet new people? If you're with somebody, you know, a partner at home, they're just like, gosh, why can't you just sit at home sometimes? You know, once a connection is made, you know, you can seem like you don't care about the person anymore because you go on to the next person, especially in a large event. I can never get you alone. You don't seem to handle long hours of solitude well, which if you have the introversion strengths that also, then doesn't play into the fact, but you know, if you have lots of extroversion, then maybe solitude is not a fun thing for you. So the feedback that you guys love to hear, and you crave that positive feedback. I mean, if you have Woo people on your team, or if you have Woo children, or you have Woo partners, they need to hear it all the time. They need to hear how amazing and fun they are and how well they're liked by all. They need to have people gravitate to them, and they need, you know, to be recognized and acknowledged for that, and how much people enjoy being around them. They need to be recognized for how great they are with people, and that people do want to see them again. They need to hear you are so social, you're so friendly, you're extremely outgoing, you're a natural networker, and you're a life of the party. You know, they need to hear that people recognize that it's easy for them to meet new people and acquaintances, and that, you know, people want them to do that more. They need to hear how great they are with new people and how easy it is for them to engage conversation. They need to hear how easily they build rapport, and how they're just so good at never, you know, having a loss of words. They need to be recognized for all the social gathering and events stuff they're doing, all the organization stuff they're doing, all the committee work they're doing. They need to be recognized for their performance and how well they set the tone at a huge event. They need to be recognized the fact that they do help put reserved people at ease in a social situation. You know, they need to be praised for the fact that they broaden the network and always bring new people in and increase the worth of the network because of the people they bring in. They need to be praised for their beautiful presence and their charm, and how engaging they are in social situations, and how they can interact tirelessly with people, and that works well for them. And they need to know how popular they are, you know, how everyone knows them. They love to be that center of attention person that everyone seems to know.
Randy, I know you want to quickly go through.
Yeah.
Does it make Woo sometimes look like divas? Because I certainly don't think I'm a diva. So, no, I mean, you know, like I know divas in real life, and totally different. You know, we approach it being humble and all that. So I just wanted your opinion.
I just think it depends how you define diva. I think it does. I mean, you know, Brad, what do you think? Do people call you a diva?
No, definitely not a diva. It just made me laugh when you were describing that, because it did sound like very diva-ish to have everybody listening to you and only you when you were discussing. But no, I definitely pride myself on being able to share the quote unquote spotlight in a group setting with other people. But, you know, I think a lot of it depends on the group dynamic. I mean, I've had, I've had a girlfriend before that was more introverted, much more of an achiever, much more of that kind of thing. And that was where I was very much the life of the party, the one that stuck out.
The social butterfly.
And then later, you know, I had a girlfriend who definitely had as much or possibly even more woo than I did. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like you almost have to understand that you both have it, and you can't let those feelings of, God, why do they like her more than me? Feelings get into the middle of it, because then it starts this battle that you don't need. So, you know, you just have to coexist.
Yeah, I mean, heaven forbid you be a competitive woo, then it would be then it would be really competitive. Yeah, and so Mani, to answer your question, diva is, you know, this is the diva part of your personality, perhaps, right? It's the flamboyant part. It's the communicative, social, wooing part. But that doesn't mean that's all there is to you. Remember, we're just defining the strength in singularity today. We're not talking about all the other things that come into play. Like, for example, your woo and restorative means that you could easily win people over to the solution to a very complex problem, and that you're trying to restore woo, but it also means you have a serious side that you're looking at, you know, problems, complex problems, you're wanting to solve them, you got high quality assurance. So it's again, we're just describing one aspect of y'all's personalities today, we're not defining you in totality.
Exactly. I have to clarify. I meant the dramatic divas that we hear of in the general broader public is what I was saying. But
yeah, I mean, we would have to look at them and understand them and see where they're coming from, and you know, we have to understand if they're emotionally motivated or if they are logically motivated. We have to understand if they're the same person in the spotlight that they are at home, or if they're just putting on a performance. Maybe the drama comes from the drama they experienced all through their upbringing. I mean, there's just so many factors that you have to look at to say, you know, what makes you you and makes you this quote unquote diva that you are. So how woos communicate? You guys are extroverted, so mostly verbally. You know, of course, when you communicate, it's going to be enthusiastic, full of energy. It's going to have lots of color. And obviously you're at your best when you're communicating among large crowds of people. You may communicate through the masses, through, you know, our digital area, through radio, podcast, broadcast, even like these types of Zoom meetings. You might, or YouTube, you know, you might be setting up stuff that you can communicate outwardly to other people. And of course, you're always going to have smiles for people. You're super charming. You know, you keep things light with jokes, and you communicate with influence, right? You have an intent to win people over. You have an intent to get them to do something they wouldn't have done otherwise. You will also communicate as long as you need to until you've gotten the attention of the person on the other end of that communication to win them over. Okay, if you are wanting to communicate well with a woo, first and foremost, just talk to them, right? Woos love to be talked to. They love to be smiled at. They love the positivity. They love it when you are excited and engaged to be conversing with them. So when they light up and turn on, and then you light up and turn on in reaction to what they're saying and discussing, that's very gratifying for them. The more that you acknowledge them and flatter them and say, look, you're great at this, you do this well, people love you, you know, and you know, I'm not saying this to be, you know, you have to say these things when they're not true. That's not at all what I'm saying here, guys. What I'm saying is find the things that they really are good at and who they really work well with, and, you know, just point it out to them, acknowledge it. That feedback, that positive feedback feeds them. Showing interest and enthusiasm, exclaiming, right? If I say, woo, that's so exciting, you know, or if I say, yeah, you know, and I exclaim, they get excited too. That feels good to them. You know, don't put them down unless you want to shut them down. That doesn't work with a woo. If you're going to put them down, they're just going to be like, that didn't feel good, and I'm not really interested in talking to you anymore. You didn't make me feel good. And that would be for most people, but it's just a little bit more specific for woo. And then tell them what you see most in them and adore about them. These are all things that are going to go over well when communicating with woos. Okay, so how to sell, influence, and woo. So if you are a woo, you naturally sell and influence. You guys don't need me to tell you this. You're going to win people over to your side with engaging conversation. You learn how to be extremely likable to everyone. So, you know, you're naturally going to be researching and getting information and learning how to influence and how to woo. You're going to make the product or service fun to purchase. That's huge. When something is fun to buy, you're more likely to spend your money. That's why there's a huge industry, for example, in alcohol. You know, if it's fun, then you're going to buy it and it's going to be a fun night. Express how the product or service will make a company more popular. You know, if you're trying to sell something to another company, they want to know how to become more popular. So focusing on products and services that will do that for them is a very good niche market for you guys. Talking about how a product will increase their demand through marketing. communicating how the product or service will win the hearts of others is something that you guys could do very well to encourage people to buy the product or service. Creating engaging videos of yourself and sharing them. If you guys are naturally good on camera or naturally good in front of people or expressive, you guys are going to be so much better on camera than most people. So, definitely creating videos of yourself advertising, either products or services or even other people's businesses. That's huge. Creating that YouTube channel or podcast to be able to advertise is a great way for you guys to sell. Attending large conferences and manning a booth where you get to talk to all those new people and introduce them to your product and your services and your company. That's super fun and it works really well for you guys. And then, of course, hosting those parties and events for your clients where you can mingle among potential new customers is a really, really good way for you guys to get the job done. If you guys are trying to sell a woo, right? If you're trying to sell or influence a woo, you got to show them how fun the product or service is. You got to show them how this product or service will make them or their company more likable. You have to show them how it's going to increase their ability to effectively network or reach more people. You have to show them how the product or service helps them sell themselves and be more liked. Maybe you have to show them this is how you're going to, this is how you're going to be your new magnet for more people. This is why more people are going to come towards you and gravitate towards you. You have to show them how it improves appeal and charm. You have to show them how the product or service allows them to connect more easily. Or maybe the product enables them to make more connections and join committees and organizations so they have an even broader network after they use the product or service. The product or service, if you show them how it will increase their chances of winning someone over, they're going to be more interested or excitable about the product. Or if you show them how the product or service helps them break the ice with new acquaintances, then that's appealing to them as well. Any thoughts on how to sell or influence as a woo, or how to be, if we want to influence you, how to get that job done? Okay. So if you're wanting to identify woo, it's not that hard. They're the ones that are smiling, they're happy, they're conversational, they're social. But if you're not sure, you can say, do you like large crowds? Do you like social gatherings? When do you feel most energized? Is it at the party or is it at home by yourself? Do you enjoy meeting new people? Because if I ask you guys, do you enjoy meeting new people? You're gonna be like, oh my God, yes. I love meeting new people. So it's easy to identify a woo to understand when you need to treat them like a woo and interact with them like a woo. And then I put some woo words down at the bottom here. Using these words in conversation with woos is wonderful for them. They love hearing about the party. They love hearing about the network. They love hearing about connections and events and, communication and et cetera, et cetera. Oh, I don't think I have communication down there. I'll add it before I send this out. And positivity should be down there too. So I'll add that too. Okay, so those are your key words to use when you're interacting with a woo. To improve your perception, wooers, explain to people that networking is a part of your style. This will help them not mistaken your style for insincerity and wondering why you're being so friendly, because people might be like, why are you being so friendly? Right? And just say, look, this is just part of me. This is how I network. I found it to be, very effective. So it's nothing to be scared of. I'm just extroverted and I love meeting new people. You can, to ensure that you're not seen as fake, flighty, or too surface level, just spend that little extra time with people here and there, right? Find ways to show them that you care. Go above and beyond, here and there to just say, look, I think of you more, in addition to just meeting you and winning you over. Be aware that you could possibly be seen as overbearing because you might dominate a conversation. So find ways to remind yourself to listen, or find ways to find other people interesting and to ask questions and then wait for the answer. You're going to have to really, be conscious of that so that you're not overrunning a conversation. Find people that enjoy conversing as much as you do. That way you guys can just go back and, talk and talk and talk and talk. What did I write here? As you do so as to not overstay your conversation welcome. What did I say here? Find people that enjoy conversing as much as you do so as to not overstay your conversation welcome. I don't know what the heck I meant by that.
Over talking.
It's to not be overbearing.
Yeah, okay.
We know what that means.
We got
Okay.
it.
Good. Working well with a woo leader or colleague or family member. So these are the things that people need to do for you wooers, right? They need to smile, keep it light and fun. They need to go to social gatherings with you where you shine and get re-energized. They need to support you when you want to woo and when you're in that headspace. They can help you by informing you of functions and events and conferences where you might want to go and socialize. They, should be talking to you weekly and engaging in conversation with you, weekly or daily even. Hosting parties, inviting new people that they can meet so they can win them over is a great setting and a way to help a woo be successful. Introducing them to new people so they can woo them, praise them and tell them that they are well liked and well received, or when they are well liked and well received so that they can get better and spend more time in those areas. Ask these wooers to present, speak, and host. Ask them to attend conferences where their talents can shine. And don't expect them to want to hang out with you one-on-one for too long. I mean, you might do it for a while, but then, like we said before, you want to move on to the next one. How you guys can collaborate well with others, spend time and have fun with your teammates. Also make sure to listen effectively, create opportunities to meet new colleagues socially. And I've seen people do this, at Sabre. It was like somebody set up an event. It was a happy hour event that anybody could come to. And that was really cool because you could meet, lots of different people. Keep work light and fun. You guys have a talent to make sure everybody's having fun at work, which is extraordinary because work can become work. Bringing that positivity and optimism to difficult problems, getting training on how to best communicate with others, helping others communicate when they are finding it difficult to do so is a talent of yours. Being approachable and making yourself available is a great way to make more connections at work. You guys also have the ability to help others sell and win people over to your teammates' ideas because they don't necessarily have these talents by themselves. You can influence your team members when they need to be won over to a concept, and you can influence for your team members when they need help convincing others. You can help others network and invite them along to your social events. You can introduce your teammates to others at social events. You can listen to your teammates and of course, not overrun the conversation, and then host committees, happy hours, and volunteering events. Moni, did you have a question?
There's a question in the chat and I wanted to see if you could address that aspect.
Sure. Is woo, no, it's neither male or female. It's not gender difference. It's equally across both from what I've seen. I don't have the data or statistics on it, but I've had just as many woo men and women come into my court than I've never seen a distinguished strength at all. Actually, that has a gender preference. I've seen as many commanding women as commanding men. I've seen as many empathetic women as empathetic men. So I don't have the data or statistics, but gender hasn't seemingly played into that. It's been more of culture that I've seen some of those biases come into play. But I've never seen a particular culture exhibit woo more than another yet. I haven't had that experience. Okay, so to build relationships effectively, you guys, this is where you can partner with those relators, partner with the empaths, let them help you solidify the relationships, let them help guide you, ask them for ideas and input on, what more you can do to create long lasting relationships. Bringing your positive energy to relationships is wonderful. People will love being around you. Partners will love being around you. Friends will love being around you because we all need that positivity in our lives. And especially when it comes to like money, like what you have where you want to solve hard problems, bringing that woo part of your personality, that positive personality into a hard conversation is such a relief for most people. You communicate well. So of course, we've said this a million times, you got to make sure you listen well as well. And you got to find ways to clearly communicate and express your seriousness. People might not take you seriously if you're just all fun and games. I know somebody who's got positivity, communication, woo. He's actually got strategic as well. But gosh, he is, overwhelmingly fun, super fun, but it would be hard to take him serious unless he finds a way to show us his serious side. Enjoy going to a social functioning, but doing it with a one-on-one person or a small group, as well as large groups. You gotta change that up and vary that to be able to build relationships with people who are not like you. And of course, you got to find a way to make one-on-one time for them. And then, you know, you have the ability to come up with those fun things to experience. So you can come up with the social events and the, you know, the concerts and just the fun experiences that you can, you know, ask people if they want to do it with you, so that you can build those relationships in a little bit more sincerity. And then continue to ask, you know, engaging, fun questions to connect with them, relate with them, continue to get to know them, because you guys already do this really well when you first meet them. So if you can just continue to do more of that as you continue to get to know people, you'll deepen the relationships with those people. Okay.
I want to share something here, Brandy, if you have time.
Yeah, sure.
I recently looked at my entire chart, and empathy for me is like 31, which kind of makes me feel a little weird. But my husband, empathy is his #1 strength.
Right.
And the time that I have been with him, I have kind of, I see empathy as kind of like a muscle that you can build, because I see him like practicing empathy in everything that he does. So I feel like that Woo and empathy might be, I think I heard somebody has it within their top 5, but for me, it's really far out. But I have learned to become more empathetic. And it's always an interesting approach to be able to learn to become more empathetic as a Woo for some reason, because you're always like, kind of like all about, how do I make this person like me? How do I make sure they're okay? You know, but it's interesting. So I think that this really makes a lot of sense. If you partner with somebody, you can learn to kind of develop and pull their strengths in. And for me, that was empathy, and it's a big one.
Right. And you
have
that learner, so you want to learn to be more empathetic. And it might not be natural for you ever, like it is for Abhishek, but you can learn ways to, you know, you can watch him and go, oh, he does this, so if I do this, then it makes me more empathetic. It might not make you, you know, really feel what someone's feeling, but it at least allows you to take action on things that help you, you know, look and feel more empathetic, and to actually, you know, be more empathetic as well. Because, you know, we never want to say that you're going to ever pull empathy up to your top ones. You're not. It's just not something that your neural pathways are going to think about throughout the day. But like you said, you can put things in place that help you have more empathy than you normally would by, you know, partnering with Abhishek. So, and I'm sure he's learned to woo a little bit more being around you.
For me, it was harmony. And I think we talked about it in a different strength context, Brandy. But for me, harmony is like the lowest. I have empathy in the middle. So at 14, so I have that empathy, and, you know, I cry with other people, all of that. But harmony is one thing that I think, if you can just shed some light on that with Woo, right? Because here you're disrupting and you're trying to meet as many people as possible. It's probably not harmony. I don't know how harmony is.
A Woo harmony, think of it this way. They're going to woo harmonically. So the way that they woo is going to be very harmonious, right? And that means it's going to be peaceful and accommodating, and it's going to be trying to get everybody in alignment. It's also probably a better listener, just like empathy, because they want to get everybody's perspective out on the table. And then they're going to, you know, so they're going to woo harmoniously. They're going to harmoniously woo, and they're going to woo when they are bringing people together in a room, and they're trying to get everybody in agreement and alignment. They're going to win everybody over to the ideas, to the, you know, to this is where we need to go and this is how we need to get aligned. They're going to try to win everybody over to that idea. That's kind of how they work, Money.
Okay, so that's the opposites. So that's okay. So if you have it as the lowest, harmony is the lowest, that means then you're probably not thinking about all the aspects that you just talked about.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So if you're a leader, you guys, these are ways that you can lead effectively with Woo. You know, spending time and having fun with your team members. That'll come very natural to you because they're going to enjoy spending time with you, especially as a leader. Creating opportunities for the team to meet with you socially. So those are those leadership happy hours. Making work and production fun to increase engagement, being approachable and making yourself available. You should have some open door happy hour kind of things at the, you know, like, I didn't say that right, but like just the open door policy, you know, at work, like, you know, here's when I'm open, come hang out and come talk to me. Being Okay, well, I covered that in the second one. So sell others on the importance of performance and winning others over. As a leader, you can help others do this more frequently and more often and teach them how to do these things like you do. It doesn't mean they all have to do that or gravitate towards it, but you just have an opportunity to show them. Just like Yusra said with Abhishek, he has opportunity to teach others how to be more empathetic. You guys have an opportunity to influence others on why it's important to woo effectively. And you, I just said that in like 3 bullets. So let me skip down. You know, you can take your teammates with you on, you know, engagements where you're networking or even where you're negotiating to show them how you do that. Let them watch and observe. And of course, we got to make sure and listen to them and not overrun the conversation. And we, as a leader, we need to make light of a lot of situations, but not serious ones. You know, we can show our teammates the bright sides of things, but when things are serious, we really need to turn on that listening and be empathetic, and then hopefully help them see the brighter side of things. Find out the extracurricular activities your teammates enjoy doing, engage and with them in those things. And then make sure you sell and showcase your team's achievements and highlight the individual performance. You have the ability to win others over to what your team is doing, to win the hearts of others on what your team members are doing, and just make sure that they get the acknowledgement across the company that they need. Okay, if you're coaching a woo, again, this is going to look a lot like the communication one, right? If you're coaching a woo, you know, we got to point out what they're doing well, essentially, and we need to make sure that we get them to do more of what they do well and less of what they despise. We want to encourage their extroversion. We want to encourage their ability to be among large amounts of people and be social and be at conferences. We want to encourage them to do things where we say, look, you should be hosting something, or you should be on the radio, or you should be speaking somewhere. We want to encourage them to use that, like you said, Moni, use that muscle and flex that muscle as much as they possibly can, and help them see where they can do that to be most effective. To live a peaceful life, wooers, find ways to not to over concern yourself with the few people who you don't win over. This is wasted energy. Thank you, Moni, for that first bullet. You know, partner with people who embrace your charm, embrace your energy, embrace your charisma. And surround yourself with people who support your need for socialization. Find ways to ensure that you get enough social time each week. Don't neglect that, and don't suffocate it or leave it behind. Stay grounded by always checking in on people you know, and the people that you know that you know and that you know that love you. You know, that's important, to not neglect them, to not overlook them. Always make some time in your schedule each week to touch base with those people, and then intentionally place yourself in environments where new people adore you and come to meet and talk to you. When you put yourself in that environment and that works for you, you're going to feel the most success. And so you should create those environments. You know, find out why people want to come to you and why they want to come talk to you, and create the environments for people to come talk to you so you experience success every single day. You also want to study and learn from the best on how to effectively win people over. So you want to read those books, watch those podcasts, listen to those high influencers and see how they do it. Okay, this is just a list of actions. I'll let you guys go through this later, of things that you need to do to make sure that you're using your woo every day. And oh, that's it. Oh, I got through them all with 2 minutes to spare. Let me open it up for you guys. The rest of this is just resources for you to go through. And it also is, you know, telling you to sign up to my Strengthology Insights if you want to get more insights on your strengths, if you haven't already. Any other closing remarks by all of you guys here on the phone? You wooers.
I have one thing to give Brandy, which is it's more of a cautionary, just in this digital world, and I'm speaking from experience. I have so many group texts that I'm on where we're just having conversations throughout the day. But we're so used to that phone that I've noticed sometimes I will be in a conversation in person, and then I will be looking at another conversation on my phone.
Sure.
Because I just have to have 7 conversations going on at once. But that can come across as very rude if you're buried in your phone while you're in the midst of a conversation. It's like you're not present and you're not doing it. And you don't mean to, but it can come across as rude.
Yeah, and then you're not effectively wooing somebody.
Exactly.
So, Yeah, that's a great point, Brad. Thank you for that addition. What else? Yusra, any other thoughts?
I feel like I talk too much. Just letting other people speak a little bit.
Hey, let's ask Ernie. Ernie, any questions for the woos? Ernie hasn't said a word.
As a relator, well, that's because I'm not a woo, but
Yeah.
relator is my number 3. So I guess what I got out of today's session was that I need to hook up with a woo and allow them to control the room, and then I build the relationships for long term.
That's great. That's fantastic. Does that sound good to you, wooers?
Just walk
That's
behind
all.
us. We're the snowplow. We go
Yeah.
through the road for you, and you can walk in and follow up.
That's right. I have a friend who has relator, deliberator, and harmony on top strengths, and we're just different, but we like each other enough that we hold each other up, but our communication styles and how we think, how we approach is very different, right? So
yeah,
so that's great insight.
Yeah, and it's great that you have mutual respect, and accepting one another for being different. I think that's really important. All right.
Pretty spot on, Brandy, and very fun to learn about, like
Good.
what woo is. So, and great to knowing some of the people on the call. Please feel free to add me on your LinkedIn. As you know, I love meeting new people.
I already done, Yusra. And Rania, it's scary sometimes, these strengths, how they come across. So it is pretty scary. And then how are you going to share this to us?
Yeah, so I actually am recording this one. Last week, I did not get that job done. So I've recorded it. I'm going to post it out on LinkedIn. I'll post the presentation and the recording so you guys have everything you need. We're going to use this Zoom link. This will not change every single week. So you can just come back to this. I'll post this PDF into the chat as well today. And that way you guys can, find it in a couple different places to be able to come back to it.
Will you post it now so we can download it so we can review?
I will. Yep,
Thank
I'm
you.
going to go make 2 changes and then I'll post it.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll
So
use
I'll leave the Zoom open so that you can get to it here in just a second. Okay.
Okay. And thank you so much for doing this.
You're very welcome. Thank you all for joining. Please invite anybody else that you would like to listen to these sessions every Monday. This is an open forum, so anybody is welcome to join if they're interested in becoming a strengths-based professional or strengths-based leader. That's what this is for you guys to get some hands-on chat time with me and to learn as much as you can to take with you.
Love it. Thank you so much, Brandy. This is great.
You're very
Thank
welcome,
you.
Steve. Thank you so much, guys. Have a wonderful Monday.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah.